reaching. Too many think they can steal the ball. It's all right occasionally to flip in, but when you do, always flip up. Down will draw a foul more often than not. Up, you might do the same thing, hit their arm, and yet it will not be called a foul. So always play up, not down over the arm of the offensive player. Now, when you're guarding the man away from the ball, as Gavin is now, I don't have the ball, he must have one hand pointing toward the ball and the other hand pointing toward me. Now, if I make a move quickly this way, he must back up, and if it gets to the point where I would go behind him, he's got to feel, still try to keep his eye on the ball and know where I am at all times. Now, the farther I get away from the ball, the farther he can stay away from me. But as the ball would come over to this side, then he'd have to go back first. Don't come straight toward me. Now, if the ball would come from there to there and he'd come straight toward me, what I'd do is go right here. So he must go back first to cut off this and then come up with this hand coming up with the ball over here. Now, another thing that I'd like to point out, and not too good from this position, but to keep in mind, particularly you young people that want to learn to play defense, if you're guarding a person with the ball and that ball passed over your head, back up quickly 2 steps, but don't dare take a look at that ball. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that you'll see made, and you'll see it made even occasionally by the pros, that the man will pass and he'll turn, and when he looks back, this man's gone. So you must not take your eye off of your man. If I pass over there, he backs up quickly and does not look for the ball at all. Now, when he has me, now he can gradually turn his head and find both man and ball again. A most important point. When your man passes the ball, back up quickly, but keep your eye on your man. Stay low on defense, too. We often find this. A man passes and he raises up, and that makes it easy for the offense to go by him. So always stay low, back up and stay low. All right, now in this position, without the ball, he's opened up here. If I try to go behind him, he tries to keep position, always man and ball, keeping working, never crossing his legs, keeping him spread, keeping that balance. As I go farther away, he can go farther away. As the ball comes toward, then he closes in. All right, now let's suppose that I have the ball. All right, if I have the ball in this position, all right, now, in this position with the basket there, I want this leg forward because he must not give up this baseline. So that hand must be down, and he plays up in here. Don't play down. If I drive here, he's sliding, he's sliding, he's sliding. If I turn back, now the hand's changed. This hand goes down, and he plays this one up, and this hand one comes up. Now, the offhand should be just like this. In case I would cross over, I want that hand to be there. If he have that hand like this, playing up now, and I cross over, I may get it over. I want that hand on the crossover. So if I'm going this way, this hand is playing here, this hand is covering as much area as possible. If it comes back, it just reverses. A very important point for him to remember. All right, now, if I get him a fake here and start here, he drops the leg, hand down, playing in here, don't reach in. Do not reach in. My balance, feet wider than the shoulders, tail down, head up, good balance. And your movements on defense, you stay low, you keep your feet spread. I'm sliding, gliding, trying to, always the back foot dragging a little bit, always dragging a little bit, and never playing down for the ball, always playing up. Now, there are a few basic things in regard to defense that I'd like to make stress particularly, call your attention to a little stronger than normal. When the person you're guarding does not have the ball, remember that you're opened up. Opened up, that means in this manner with one hand pointing toward the ball and one hand pointing toward the man that you're assigned to guard. And the farther that your man gets away from the ball, the farther you can be away from your man. Now, always remember that. The farther he gets away from the ball and the basket, the farther you can be away from him. But always opening up, opening up, opening up. Don't turn your head over your shoulder to look. Always move the feet to look where you can increase your vision, not just turning your head. Actually, good defense could be played if you had something on your neck here that prevented you from ever turning your head. And I've often considered trying to come up with some contraption that would set on your shoulders and keep our players from turning their head at all. And they always should open up, particularly on defense. Now, on defense, too, remember that your position is so important. Generally speaking, and this isn't true 100%, but it's a rather good rule to go by, stay between the person you're guarding and the basket you're defending. If he's here and your basket is here, you want to be here. You don't want to be on the other side of him. You want to be on a direct line. Remember, the game is played in angles, straight lines, and those that run arcs, they're the teams that are easy to play against. So try to keep between your man and the basket no matter where he is. Most of the time. I won't say that there can't be some exceptions, so let's remember that. And another thing that is so important, young men, if you're defending against a person and he passes the ball over your head, never, never turn and look. You know where the ball went. You don't have to turn and see. You back up quickly in the direction to where the ball went, but keep your eye on the person who passed. And don't you dare try to find that ball until it's safe. When you know that he didn't cut for the basket and stayed out there, then you can gradually turn your head until you can see both ball and man again. And remember, too, that if he passes over your head, don't raise up. You must stay low. And when you would advance on a player, stay low. Don't come out high and don't fall for fakes, because that makes it easy for the offensive player. Now remember, if a person is driving to your left, you play up with the left hand. Up, up. Don't back, go down. You play up, and the right hand covers as much territory here to prevent a crossover dribble. Remember that. Now, if he drives to your right, the right hand plays up, and the left hand then covers as much territory as possible. Those are all important points of defense. And remember that defense is a team game. A defense is just as much a team game as offense is. You have a far greater responsibility than just defending against one person. You are defending the basket, and that means against the other team. It doesn't make any difference who scores. It's going to be 2 points against you, and you must have that same idea in mind as you have on offense. It doesn't make any difference which one of you or your teammates score when you're offense. It's still 2 points for your team, and it isn't going to be any more or any less. So make it a team game, both offensively and defensively. And the more you can make it a team game at each end of the court, I guarantee you, the more fun you're going to have playing the game. And it is a fun game. And it's a fun game when you're playing together, just as it is at home, when the family is working together to get something that's good for all. That's fun.
We've been discussing some of the do's and don'ts and the pitfalls for parents that they might experience when they're watching their child perform in a youth sport. Judy, what are some of the kinds of things that you've noticed as a parent?
Well, one of the things I had to do was take a look at my own self along the sidelines when my children were performing. And I also paid attention to the other parents and became very aware of some of these dynamics that distract or help the children when they perform.
Some of the don'ts that you might pay attention to are, don't relive your childhood through your child. Don't push the child. You want them to perform well, and you do want to show support, but you don't want to push them because it just makes them doubt their own ability, and it undermines their self-confidence. Don't expect perfection in your child. They are doing the best that they can at the time, and it's very important for you to realize that. Don't, as a parent, blame other coaches or other players for poor performances, because that gets into a pattern of non-accountability. And the last thing, and the most important, is don't tie your ego or your self-worth to your child's performance.
Some of the do's for you parents are, be sensitive to your child and his wants and desires. If he or she does not want to play a sport, they shouldn't have to. If they do, create the opportunities, provide the open doors, be an assistance to them to find out which sport will work for them. Then support the team concept. Help your child understand what it is to be a team member as opposed to being the hero. Give respect to the coach. It is important for the child to respect the coach's opinion and expertise and to listen. Help the child Learn from his or her mistakes. It's okay if they make mistakes. They need to learn from them. And through that, you can assist them to become accountable for their performance. If they do well or they don't do well, help them to be accountable for what they